Hello and welcome to today's content, which will be taking damage as you are Helena, or Helena the Black Robed Witch, pretty much. What this is going to be showing is that it is going to show setups in general for Helena in terms of her survivability and what units in our meta currently that can deal damage to her, and it depends on your decision if you think it's like enough damage, suitable damage, or how can I mitigate this damage. Without further ado, let's begin. So first off, sorry for the messy page, but just focus with me at one at a time. First off is going to be the two Helena builds. The first off is going to be the left side build, where it's going to be Helena, Dwayne, and Ruin Stern. She's going to be using her specific TMR for herself because of the barrier as well as just the stats in general. She will be using Bahamut as well. She personally will be using the Black Rose Helena vision card, and Dwayne and Ruin Stern are basically just going to be holding the Omega vision card and the Diablos vision card. With this, her stats without, like, this is all statues and like guild statue, all that, all level 1, etc. There's no extra damage, no extra HP, etc. She'll be at 6016 HP, which is pretty dang good, especially because she's a mage. She also has 0 defense and 2 spirit with this in general. It's using her passive, basically her only 2 passives for damage or slash survivability, so yeah. I should have said that earlier, but that's how it is. With this setup, she has 22% light resistance, 67% magic resistance, -10 to pierce, 5 to missile, -5 to strike, and 15 to slash. So that, as you can see in general, she is, I'm not going to say she's immune to magic attacks, but dang, she is very tanky to magic attack like potentials. This kinda means that units like Yuna, Sakura, and that are going to be significantly weaker against you are Helena specifically. From here, we have different options of armors, which I'll be getting into, but first off, before I do that, let's go to the right side. So it's going to be the exact same build, however, this time we're using Solidus, the vision card, instead of the Helena vision card, the Black Rose Helena. With this, the stats are almost identically the same, however, she gets a little bit more HP. She is now at 6057, however, she loses 4 spirit from the vision card benefits itself, so she's at -2 spirit now. She also gains 20 slash resistance, so now she's at 35% against slash, which is pretty significant considering she has 6000 HP. Now, for her armor types, just in general against most types, if you use the Galmia coat, which is going to be for more damage, as you can see, almost all the armors get her to a decent amount of HP. This is used in like at the same time with her TMR. So yeah, if you want more damage, Galmia coat is there, you get a decent amount of HP, you get a good amount of spirit. Your defense is still kind of mediocre, but it's okay. We have the Elven Cloak, where it gives you pierce resistance. If you have this on, she is now at 0% pierce resistance instead of -10. For Defense Bracer, not only gives you disable resistance, but it gives you a good amount of missile resistance for 3 turns specifically. Sometimes 3 turns is all you need. Keep that in mind depending on the map you're using her on. After that, we have the Fides Lacerna, which is good for slash. If you have it with the Black Rose Helena card, we have 23 slash. If you use it with the Solidus card, we have 43% slash and a good amount of spirit. This is very, very good for resistances. Overall, the setup is just trying to see like raw damage potentials. She's not even using a weapon here, and there's definitely like more things you can do, and it's not considering the 35% damage reduction on barrier on her TMR. This will come into play later as we get to the next slides. So here we are for the first slide of potential damage dealers. For here, we're going to try Elsorel out, mostly because she has the dual gunner subjob and or if she's using slash. This will be using specifically the Golden Blade and the Light Bracer, and she has Sakura in the party just there for the mono element stat and the vision card holding. She's not using a vision card specifically here, but yeah, Elsorel with Odin and the Scions of Shadow vision card, she'll have roughly around 891 attack, roughly. These are all projected numbers, they're not 100% accurate, mostly because there are always variances between guilds and elemental like levels, all that. We're just going off some base amounts. This is also not using the Nightblade Mastery so that she has more dark resistance. Just keep that in mind. With this in mind, dual trigger will do 3,829 damage to Helena here, and Maiming Slash will do 3,709 damage. These are all damage values that are not critical hits, and it is not considering the barrier. That's why it says it will actually be lower due to the barrier. We would decrease all these numbers by 35% because of the barrier. As you can see, using light units against Helena's setup, as you saw before, it's gonna be very hard to kill her, like specifically like this, without them dying. For here, we move on to Frederica and 9S. I do believe 9S can deal really good significant damage to Helena. However, because we have Frederica's EX here and she's in a safe range, so she won't be like taking a lot of damage compared to 9S, who has to be kind of in the front, I chose her for the DPS scenario in this area. So she's using the Ras Al Ghathi. The Koru vision cards is on 9S in the party. Rika is using the Koru Esper, and she herself personally has the Frederica Dream vision card equipped. With this, she comes out to around 916 attack. An arm shot would do 5,447 damage. Barrage does about 4,705 damage, and Vital Sharp Shot, her EX version, does 4,925 damage. Consider this that only Vital, the Vital Sharp Shot bypasses the barrier. The arm shot and barrage will be reduced by 35% respectively. Keep in mind, these are all damage values with Helena not using an armor type or anything, so this is just something for you to consider. For King Mont and Rain, obviously King Mont is not going to be as high DPS compared to Rain, mostly because Rain has a setup specifically for him to deal damage, especially with his EX, so we'll start from there. So with the Crimson Saber, and I forgot what the vision card was called, but when you have that vision card on Rain, and he's using the Bahama Esper, his magic comes around to 1,209. This is with, I believe, intensifying power as well. With this, his Soul Prominence will do 4,047 damage, Amist Blaze will do 3,680 damage, and Shining Nova does 4,096 damage. All these damage will be lowered due to the barrier. However, keep in mind, Soul Prominence, as much as it does lower damage because of the barrier, it can instantly break the barrier because it's hitting it 3 times. This also helps set up for chains. Also have to consider Rain. You're like, oh wow, Rain doesn't even do damage compared to Frederica. Keep in mind, Rain takes virtually like a small scratch amount of damage from your Helena if he's built more magic defensively, so just keep that in mind. Here we are for the last page of potential damage dealers. For 2B situation, she has Halloween Leela for the mono wind buff, and Halloween Leela specifically is holding the Tetra vision card. With the Virtuous Contract weapon on, with Tetra and her own vision card for 2B, we have approximately 1,282 attack, approximately. Impaler Plus is expected to do 6,927 damage, Whirling Vortex is expected to do 4,815 damage, and Spirit Breaker is expected to do 6,170 damage. Keep in mind, as much as these numbers are crazy high, they're all expected to deal significantly lower damage due to the barrier. You also have to keep in mind that since 2B is not, how should I say, human, because she is an android, slash like machine, just like 9S, they will take less damage as well from Helena in general. The reason why is because a lot of people are going to be running Bahama on her, Human Killer, etc. After that, we now have Rob, and Sakura is there once again, mostly just as the vision card holder and the buff. We also have Rob here using the Virtuous Contract, mostly because it has also Pierce, which I kind of wanted to just like look at the damage he can do with his Lancer sub job. Also because it has a very high base attack. So with the Virtuous Contract, with a contract, it's one of them, with the Light Bracer, using Odin with his own vision card, he is around 1,360 attack, which is pretty high. His Vortex Render does 5,332 damage, his Burst Slash does 5,152 damage, and Zen Tetsu Kongo does 5,844 damage. Only the Kongo bypasses the barrier, keep that in mind. Also, I didn't mention specifically, but Sakura is holding the Scions of Shadow vision card here for the extra damage. Lastly, we have the Ice Twin Bros, which is mostly going to be Arn as the heavy carry. Although Gilgamesh can do significant damage with Kotetsu, we're focusing on Arn on this one. So with the Shimmering Blade on himself, with Odin and the Fenrir vision card, and Gilgamesh is holding the Glacial one, we get around 1,453 attack on Arn here. Keep in mind, this is not using his defense penetration passive, this is using just all attack damage. His Crouching Dragon does 6,968 damage, his Spirit Breaker does 5,661, Heaven's Fall does 6,205. Keep in mind, Heaven's Fall is the only one that can bypass the barrier. As you can see, if, Helena does not mitigate against Auron specifically, he is actually the only one that can completely one-shot her completely if she's not either slash resistance up or she only uses the TMR for her defenses and she uses like more attacking stuff like Soul of Phasma or something else on her etc. Accessory. Keep that in mind. And with that, we arrived to the end of the video. As always, it's a bit of a short video, but yeah, if you liked it, please like and subscribe. I might do a feature of these and like a lot more of these in the future, mostly for, I guess the next unit would be potentially Dwayne, because Warrior Light EX I feel like is not really, it doesn't warrant enough. I usually do it for like units or team compositions that are going to be insanely meta or very hard to handle, so I'll probably do it for Dwayne next time when it comes out. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this little short video, but yeah, until next video, peace out.